Let's get to YSL real quick. So got to be. That's the name. Yes. Okay, chat. The verdict just came down. The YSL trial is now concluded, ladies and gentlemen, and the two people that were on trial still have been found not guilty of most charges. Shannon Stillwell, he was only actually found guilty on the possession of a firearm by a felon, and actually that's a really serious charge still, but considering what these guys are facing with the RICO and everything else, he was found guilty not guilty on the other charges. This is one of the very first times I've ever seen a not guilty verdict in any type of semi-high profile situation regarding not even only just rappers, just period, when it regards to the RICO charge. So officially, Shannon Stillwell and even Yak Gotti, they've officially beaten a RICO case. And, you know, obviously there's so much that could be said. Yo, this goddamn prosecutor just fucked up the entire thing. They really butchered this case. But nonetheless, I do want to say this. Young Thug exiting the case definitely helped these men out. Number one, it cut the witness list by, I believe, 50 to 70 or something like that. It got to the jury box quicker than expected, but also it was off the backdrop of a lot of other things happening, and also these guys were offered some sort of negotiated plea that they all turned down. This was the reading of the verdict, and here it is.
You have been found guilty on count 64, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and not guilty on every other charge. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been found guilty on count 64, possession of a firearm.
So you got found not guilty on the other charges. This was for Yak Gotti.
You have been found not guilty on all charges.
Okay. So officially, Yak Gotti has been found not guilty on all charges, including the RICO charge, and also, most importantly, and this is the reason why he didn't take a negotiated plea, there was a murder charge. So he is officially free. Well, not yet free. From what I was told, he picked up some charges from being incarcerated that has to still be addressed, but now he could bond out for those, and you know, now they could apply for bond because he's now free on the charge he was already in jail for. So I want to say congratulations to these men. This opens up so many conversations. We'll get to what the lawyers said in a little bit, but what some people are saying, well, damn, if Thug had waited an extra month, he would have probably got the same verdict, right? Now, that seems very likely after we've seen a no guilty verdict get put in. However, I think Thug just didn't want to even fuck around and take the chance, man. Also, the state's case was going to be, it wasn't going to stop today, right? It was going to go into 2025 and probably go until mid-2025, so 6 more months. So again, Thug walked out of jail immediately. But of course, if he did stay, it seems like, you know, even with the 50 other witnesses or people that they may have called, it does appear that Young Thug may have gotten a not guilty verdict as well. Anyway, there is some other updates from the hearing. It says Jimmy Winfrey might be interested in a plea deal. These are people who are either elusive or couldn't be found or didn't have lawyers that didn't get added on to the original indictment that went to, not indictment, but the initial trial. So they're trying to figure out and get everybody sorted out because, again, remember, this was definitely House of Cards. Once Young Thug got out, the prosecutor ran out of steam. They didn't have enough to get these guys locked up in a show. These guys was found not guilty. The judge took a recess to deal with another matter. And yeah, so so after the 2 years since jury selection, the verdict of the 2 remaining defendants came with no fanfare, no warning. That was a crazy moment. Wow. Now, we do have supposedly who's this? Yeah, by the way, this guy here, Max Goddard, he is one of the fine attorneys who's done he's really earned a huge fucking salary for whoever, you know. I mean, if you're caught up in Fulton County, you got to get this guy. This guy's earned his keep. He's done a phenomenal job. And by the way, I just want to be very clear and on the record with this. The lawyers and the defense attorneys in this case, kudos. You guys were top tier, didn't miss a beat, didn't look at how big the case was and all the evidence that the state purported that they had, and just basically either encourage your client to take a plea or half-ass representing them. These attorneys fought tooth and nail to make sure they got these brothers out. Brian Steele, obviously, we know him. My Jamaican brother, I think he's Jamaican, the black dude, he was also Young Thug's attorney. And then these other attorneys, they clearly did an amazing damn job the entire time. If we're seeing a not guilty verdict for murder and a RICO charge, god damn. Now, there's one juror in question that has finally spoken out. Now, if you guys don't know, there was a juror that offered to recuse himself, or he wrote a letter to the judge saying, "Judge, could you let me go?" Why? The juror actually said, "I can't be impartial anymore. I can't be non-biased. I watched the state waste 2 years of my life, or a year and a half of my life sitting here. I've watched them mess up this case, and I'm disgusted. I can't be non-biased." And the judge actually said, "We're not going to dismiss you. We're going to still keep you on the stand. We're going to still keep you in the jury box and still keep you a part of this case." And that's exactly what happened. He ended up being supposedly the foreperson, the jury foreman, and that's like the person who kind of delivers the results to the judge and kind of like calculates the votes, or like, he's like, "All right, let's vote. Since we've discussed, let's vote." That's the guy that ends up doing that, which, by the way, trust me, Fulton County, y'all, it's Fulton County. The guy who says he can't be impartial is the foreman. Make this make sense. Whatever. Okay. He actually spoke out. So this is a juror. Listen to this.
I can file a report that I was one of the jurors for the YSL court case here in the state of Georgia, the longest court case in the state history. We just wrapped up a few hours ago, delivered the verdict for 2 of the remaining individuals. A long time, a year and change. It took us about 4 or 5 days to deliberate, and now we can get back to our normal lives. I talked to my sister not too long ago. I'm the infamous juror number 56, as well as the foreman, and we'll talk more about this court case at some other point. In the meantime, I'm going to relax, get my life back to normal, my regular routine, and get back into friendly skies and travel around the world. And yeah, we'll talk soon. All right. I can file a report that...
So essentially, he's almost like lobbying, saying, "Yo, hit me up for interviews, okay?" Yeah, he's the guy who said, "I'm requesting to be removed from the current case due to the length of this trial and how the state has handled this case. I can no longer be unbiased towards any decision moving forward." The juror said that and sent that note a few weeks ago. 56 ended up being the jury foreperson. Fulton County people. Okay. A few other things happened. This was outside the courtroom, which is a little bit pandemonium. The lawyer spoke. This is Yak Gotti's attorney, Doug Weinstein.
Just the state of Georgia, not just this DA's office, stopped using artists' lyrics against them. We need to pass the Rap Act in Congress to protect the entire country. We need a Georgia Rap Act, and we need to get moving on it now. Just because this trial is over, this fight for the Rap Act should not stop. It should start, it should be ignited. And the DA's office here should stop using people's lyrics against them, and they only use lyrics against people of color. And that is what I said in my closing, and that is the God's honest truth. Let's cut that stuff out right now. Just the state of Georgia, not just...
Okay, all right. And then here is...
He was found guilty of possession of a firearm on March 17th, not the day of any any other crimes. It was the day that he was arrested. Okay. And there was a gun that was registered to his girlfriend that was found near the scene of where he was arrested. And that's what he was convicted of. Judge Whitaker, we are so thankful to her for having an open mind. A lot of times when you take a case to trial, you just get the maximum sentence for daring to take on the state. Judge Whitaker did not see it that way. She gave Mr. Stillwell a time-served sentence for the time that he is served, followed by probation. Mr. Stillwell has a couple, or I think one other criminal matter that needs to be resolved. I am hopeful and optimistic. It's nothing like this case. It's a case that was picked up while incarcerated. And we're hopeful that there will be a quick resolution to that case, and Mr. Stillwell will be able to get back to his life and his children and his family.
You think he'll be home by Christmas? Is that
I'm hoping. Okay. That's not unrealistic.
Okay. So, yeah, that is the lawyers speaking. I think we have Young Thug's dad who was there.
Stepped in and made a big difference on this case.
Any regrets for your son?
No, I ain't no regrets. No regrets. You know what I'm saying? He did what he felt like he wanted to do. So he's grown. He made his own decision.
Have you spoken to him since this happened?
Yeah.
What was his reaction to today's verdict?
Today? Nah, I haven't spoken to him.
How is he doing?
He's doing great. He's doing great. Honestly, he's doing great. So he don't have a word. You know, we still fight. We still fighting out as well. It's not over for us. Nah. Huh?
What do you mean it's not over for you guys?
It's not over for us because I got another son and a grandson that was arrested about this case that I'm still fighting for.
You've been an outspoken critic of Fulton County DA's office. In light of today's verdict, I got a message for that?
I still feel the same way about the DA office. It's a piece of shit. So, you know, we got to get those people out of there. If we want to continue to have justice, we got to get them out of there.
In case I forget, Mr. Producer, can you say your name itself for me?
Big Jeffrey Williams, 1.
Okay. This is Yak Gotti's mom.
Never! He said, Mama, I'm not taking it. I'm standing up. And I stood right by him every day. Every day of the week, I stood by my child. And he said, no. And I said, I'm going to stand with you. I'm going to stand with you to the end. And we stood down to the end. You never give up. No matter what's thrown against you. You never give up. Never. And he stood down. And I'm right here every day. Every day I stood up with him. And I'm thankful. I never gave up on my son. Never. He said, Mama, I'm not taking it. I'm standing up. And I stood right by him every day. Every day of the week, I stood by my child. And he said, no. And I said, I'm going to stand with you. I'm going to stand with you to the end. And we stood down to the end. You never give up. No matter what's thrown against you. You never give up. Never. And he stood down. And I'm right here every day.
Okay. I was trying to see if they had the full video of what happened outside of court. Let's see if we can figure this out.
Number.
It's a status hearing.
And I know y'all had a final plea once in front of a senior judge. It wasn't the judge that was going to preside over the trials. I'm happy to do that, but I kind of am going to need to know sort of how each of these cases is going to progress, if there are going to be charges dropped or null pros, if the state is going to move forward with everything. And if there isn't resolution, then we are going to need to sort out.
Okay.
30-year-old about turning his life around and having a second chance at life and making it mean something and being there for one's children and for one's family. So I'm just so happy, excited for Shannon. I'm happy and excited for his grandmother, who I was able to hug, and I'm happy for his kids, and I'm just very hopeful that this is a turning point and there's great things coming in the future.
Max, is this a fair and just verdict, do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The jurors, we asked so much of the jurors, and they really scrutinized the evidence, and they demanded real evidence, and it wasn't there. And so we are thankful for the jurors, and it's just a great day.
Did you have a chance to talk to the jurors?
I did, and I'm not going to comment on the discussions with the jurors, but I will just say I think the fact that they deliberated for 4 days, and also that just the amount of time that they put in, they certainly scrutinized everything, and they did their jobs as jurors, and we are appreciative of that and so thankful.
Can you reiterate again what he was only found guilty on one charge and what that means for the future, him getting released, all that stuff?
So he was found guilty of possession of a firearm on March 17th, not the day of any of any other crimes. It was the day that he was arrested.
Okay.
And there was a gun that was registered to his girlfriend that was found near the scene of where he was arrested, and that's what he was convicted of. Or at least a week, might have been 2 weeks for his recovery.
This is George Cheedy right here.
I was the only person allowed to go see him in the hospital.
Oh yeah, by the way, so there was a stabbing right before the verdict, and I don't know if that had anything to do with the video of Yak Gotti telling, but Yak Gotti was stabbed. He was stabbed up, and he was stabbed at Fulton County Jail, and
Stabbed inside a Fulton County jail on Sunday. His attorney just confirmed it. So Gotti's real name is Diamante Kendrick, and he is one of the last 2 defendants in the YSL trial. And we're told he is going to be okay. In fact, we're told he's still going to be in court today.
Wow. It's crazy.
And so that was,
now I'm going to be honest with you. I want to see how Young Thug navigates all this. Because I really do believe this street shit is a myth. And by the way, I believe this street shit been over. I want to see how Young Thug tries to make sense of, do you still fuck with Yak Gotti? While my man had a mukbang with detectives for 3 hours in a interrogation room. We have seen it. And by the way, I think the prosecutor probably knew they were going to lose this case. They started leaking this shit. Anytime I seen some shit like that, I'm like, oh, the prosecutor leaked that shit, bro. Prosecutor probably knew, man, we are getting killed out here. So knowing that nigga was probably going to get back on the streets, they're like, let's fuck over his credibility. By the way, they did play that video in court. They did play the video in court. The video with the mukbang video. You know the video I'm talking about? I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this video right here, the mukbang. Shit was crazy.
On 2000, come at me for a hey, bro, they think this is what you doing, bro?
Come on, man, little mukbang. I think that video was released by the feds, though, or not feds, by the prosecutors, because number one, the case wasn't adjudicated yet. Even if people had like requests for it, that means it had to be somebody who had it in discovery or the prosecutors. Why would somebody else release it? But we're gonna see what Young Thug's demeanor is to it. If Young Thug says "Welcome home," which I'm trying to see if Young Thug really don't like snitching or he don't like people snitching on him. It's kind of like yo, chat. I have this philosophy, or not philosophy. This is my thing. When people they be like, "Oh, you got 4 Rottweilers," I say, "Yeah." So, "Oh, you're a dog person." I say, "No, I'm not." I say, "I don't like dogs. I only like my dogs." That's where the streets is with snitching. Niggas don't like when niggas snitch on them, but they don't really care about snitches. So I'm gonna see how Young Thug kind of plays this. Does Young Thug still fuck with Yak Gotti? Right? Let's see how the Gunna thing plays out. Let's see how all of this play out. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, that we could confirm, even though there's no major convictions in this YSL case at all, and pretty much they just wasted court and tax-paying time. All of them niggas in YSL, let me not say all, the majority of them, we might as well call them Tweety Bird because they were singing like a motherfucker. Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston. Let's keep it a bean. Okay? Everything you hear they say, yo, we don't say nothing. Slat, slat, slat. Oh, that's bullshit. Everybody was telling, okay? I want to see if they come out and say the same fuck shit, because we got to point out to them, you're lying. We seen you do a mukbang. We don't want to hear that you don't tell. Stop it. This is a lie. This is fraudulent. All right? I want to see how they all adopt to it. Or perhaps, which I think this is the best way to go, but I don't think they'll go this way. Go live a life of non-crime. Like, stop that street shit y'all have poisoned the kids' minds with. Y'all have told them that this is how real niggas get down. And we've seen y'all in 4K. Y'all have basically, you told on the whole gang for some American Deli. You told on the gang for a BBO. You told on the gang for this. You told on the gang for a 20v1. Atlanta, the home of the rodents. The home of the rats. I want to see how they navigate through this and try to make us act like we ain't see all of this shit. Because I guarantee I can't wait for the first bar. I beat a Rico. I just spin the. I don't want to hear none of that. First thing I need y'all niggas to address is why 80% of the team was snitching. 80%. That's all I want to hear. Okay? I don't want to hear nothing about I beat a Rico. Fuck the ops. The first thing to address, why are there so much snitches in Atlanta /YSL? Why? I don't want to hear nothing else. Don't tell me skirt, just pulled up on the ops. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. Tell me about when you pulled up on the cops. The fraudulence music must die. You all cop please, except for these two brothers. Y'all all basically, in essence, admitted this shit's a gang. We now want to decode and debrief y'all of the fraudulence. I want to hear this. The first Young Thug song, I need to know this. When y'all got ops, is it gangster to snitch on the ops too? Because that was happening too. I just need to hear the answers. Now, granted, I don't give a fuck about street shit, but I only say that shit to say rappers have been fraudulently and I ain't gonna lie to you, I think that's a crime. At least when Dirk was saying he slid on the ops, he really had niggas running through their blocks and niggas know they had. Like he did it. Y'all niggas was saying, I would never tell, I would never do this, and we got to find out that all y'all did was tell. The reason nobody went to jail here is half the niggas told before. Let's keep it a bean. Woody's doing 20v1s, you told. Gunna's out, fucking like three little bartender bitches because he said YSL's a gang. Yak Gotti, partially he's probably released because he is a connoisseur of mukbangs. Let's keep it a bean. So I need some answers. Again, I don't even fuck about the street shit, but I don't like hypocrites. So I do want to see what the content is going to be like. But I think the whole gang should pivot to just rapping about like cool shit. Like, you know what I mean? Getting fly, fucking bitches. That's always valid. But this whole thing about, you know what I mean, wiping our nose, the ops, we just up the skull. We don't want to hear that, man. We don't want to hear it right now. Until we get some explanation. I can't wait for the first Young Thug interview. Hey, did you know that Yak Gotti was doing mukbangs talking to the detectives? What do you think about that? I don't know if we'll hear the answers, but interesting. He didn't look like he got cut. At least he didn't get cut in the face. Maybe he got cut like in the body or something like that. Well, I'm glad he's okay though. I don't got no problem with him. Hey, I feel like I've been on some Charleston White shit recently. I think snitching is the only sure thing in the streets. That's the, you know, people would talk about snitching like that's the outlier. Like, oh man, a snitch, that's like taboo. Like, oh, you snitch? I think that's like the only thing to expect, snitching. Or at least Atlanta. Atlanta's told me that. Okay. All right, ATL. See what y'all got going on. Let's keep it moving, people. Congrats, anyway, to the entire YSL, because, you know, freedom is so important. You know what I mean? All these guys have families and people care about them. Also, before I get off the topic, I want to send my condolences to all the again, I know we hear that there's murders. There's actually people dead. Condolences to their families. I know some of them were showing up to court. They probably feel like justice wasn't served. I would probably say to those people, of course, you're going to have whatever disdain for the people who are charged and accused of killing their loved ones. But, you know, if they need someone to reassign their anger to, it's going to have to be the prosecutors. You know, they sold y'all a dream saying that they were going to find justice for y'all loved ones, and they didn't. Okay? Alrighty then. What's this? What the fuck is this? All right. All right.